Did you know that over 44% of college graduates regret the degree that they got or regret the field of study that they chose to go into? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at an article from Zero Hedge that's titled Journalism Tops the List of Most Regretted College Majors. And we're going to look at the top 10 college majors that people regret the least. So the things that people are actually happy they went into and are likely having successful careers in. And we're also going to be taking a look at a list of the 10 most regretted college degrees or areas of study that people went into. And it's pretty crazy when you think about it, right? Like, what other product or service has almost half of people left with buyer's regret or buyer's remorse? It's pretty crazy. College is pretty unique in that fashion. And so that's what we're going to be talking about in today's video. In the world of make money online YouTubers, make money online YouTube videos, YouTube entrepreneurship, content creators, personal development, all this type of stuff. And in that world of YouTube content creators online, it's a very popular topic to cover, is college a ripoff? Pretty much every big business or entrepreneurship YouTube channel has done a video about this, whether it's Alex Becker, Grant Cardone, Graham Stephan, go through whatever channel. Pretty much everybody has done a video about, is college worth it? Should entrepreneurs go to college? Is college a ripoff? Well, I think one thing that's very telling, the fact that student loan forgiveness has gotten so much traction kind of shows that college is kind of a ripoff, because what other service has to give money back to people because the service didn't do what it was supposed to do? So Joe Biden recently signed an executive order to forgive student loan debt. And what's kind of interesting, it was all over the news that, is student loan forgiveness going to happen? Joe Biden's going to sign student loan forgiveness. We're going to forgive student loans. The media could not stop talking about it. Obviously, nothing went through Congress. Nothing went through the Senate. It didn't go through the proper channels because we don't have a functioning government. Joe Biden passed it through executive order. And I don't mean to pick on Joe Biden, because the past couple presidents, Republican and Democrat, have done this. Instead of actually having things go through the proper channels, as opposed to having to have our elective leaders vote on things and take a stance on things and be held accountable for their decisions, and because people would actually have to compromise and work together and negotiate to make things like that happen, of course it doesn't happen. So everything gets passed by executive order, whether it's legal or not. If we look at some of Joe Biden's recent executive orders, eviction moratoriums, knew it was illegal, openly stated it was illegal, but pushed it through anyways. It had its intended purpose. By the time it went through the courts, we'd already pushed back landlords getting their money an extra 6 months or year, whatever it was. Mission accomplished. Same thing with vaccine mandates and a lot of other things. You just illegally sign an executive order, and by the time it gets sorted out, the order had its effect anyways by the time that it winds up making its way through the courts. So that's what was done with student loan forgiveness. One thing that's kind of interesting, Joe Biden in several speeches has said, I managed to get student loan forgiveness squeaked by a couple of votes. Not sure if he actually forgets or doesn't know, or if he's trying to kind of shape perception. There were no votes on student loan forgiveness. It was done through an executive order. There were a number of challenges against it. Though two of those challenges won out, so student loan forgiveness won't be happening. But it's interesting how there was so much media attention and so much media hubbub about Joe Biden doing this, especially leading up to the midterms. And now that midterms are over and student loan forgiveness has been defeated, it's not going to be happening. I'm guessing a lot of you guys probably didn't even know that it's not going to go through, right? There hasn't been a lot of media attention given to it. But it got me thinking, what other product or service do you pay for that you then wind up getting money back from because the service didn't work? The only thing I think I've ever gotten money back from, I bought a Hyundai back in, 2010, 2012, 2013. That's kind of when Hyundai started putting out the new body styles. They were getting a lot more fuel efficient. This is when Priuses were really popular. And Hyundai was saying that they had 40 or 45 miles per gallon MPG. Well, it turns out that they lied about that. In reality, it was like 36 miles per gallon. So there was a big class action lawsuit. Hyundai basically had to admit that, Hyundais didn't get 40 or 45 miles per gallon. And everybody who had bought a Hyundai, you got this debit card, and you could take it into the dealership and basically like the difference that they lied about, so say 37 miles a gallon to 45 miles per gallon, 7 miles per gallon less that you're getting, you could go in and Hyundai would actually have to, for the life of the vehicle, you could go in and Hyundai has to continue paying you out basically for the difference in gas money that you're losing. So, Hyundai owners, Hyundais are pretty good cars. I'm happy with mine. But nonetheless, Hyundai owners were defrauded, and therefore they get some money back. And essentially, if people are getting money back under student loans, it's essentially because college, for a good chunk of people, if not most people, was a failure. Now, another thing I wanted to talk about, I think oftentimes we get bad advice from our parents, our grandparents, guidance counselors, people who are older and wiser than us and want to offer us advice. Even though they have our best interests at heart most of the time, probably, oftentimes they give bad advice. And it's not because they hate us or they're trying to steer us wrong. It's oftentimes because, the world that we're living in today is not the world that they grew up in. And a lot of the things that maybe worked for them aren't going to work for us. The idea that... it's kind of an old adage is you should have 20% down for a mortgage. Well, that may have been true back in the days when your interest rate on a mortgage was 9% or 12% or 18%. But when mortgages are, 2%, 3%, it doesn't necessarily make it doesn't necessarily make sense to put more money down. Why not put less money down and put that additional money into investments? Or if God forbid I have to walk away or I choose to walk away, I'd much rather have 3% into the property than 20% into the property. Older people will oftentimes say saving's good. You got to save as much money as possible. When the government's, creating money out of thin air and whittling down the value of your money, it doesn't actually make very much sense to save. You might as well buy assets and invest because money saved is just money that's slowly being depreciated. I think a lot of people are waking up to the fact that college is a scam when, if you're a millennial, especially like a mid or older millennial, the people who came before us, Gen Xers, college worked out for them. College worked out for baby boomers. But there's been an inflation on education. When everybody has a college degree is no longer as special. Also, the cost of college is up about 2,600% since the 70s, whereas wages have only risen about 17% since the 70s. So when I was in high school, the narrative was kind of get a college degree, get a college degree, get a college degree. If you said, I don't know what I want to go to college for, people would say, doesn't matter, go get a degree in basket weaving. Just having that piece of paper is going to open doors for you. If you said, I like working with my hands, I think I want to go into the trades. Do you want to be some white trash guy who drives a conversion van and shops at Walmart? No, if you want to have a good life, you got to go to college. And everybody was pushed to go to college. Millennials graduated into the Great Recession or following the Great Recession. A lot of millennials were working retail or working outside of their fields. Very few people are actually using their college degrees, unless you went for like some STEM field, accounting, medicine, etc. But college for most people has not really been a smart decision. They're probably making the same amount of money as somebody who didn't go to college. Plus they have, on average, $44,000 in debt. Some people even with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. Now, one interesting thing about this article, I'm going to stop rambling and actually get into the story. One interesting thing about this article, the article is actually titled Journalism Tops the List of Most Regretted Majors. And when we did the video a couple weeks back about the disconnect between what people expect to make out of college and what people are actually making out of college, journalism majors were actually the most out of touch. They expected to make $108,000 per year. In reality, they were going to make about $44,000 per year. Whereas just overall, not degree specific, most people were expecting to make like $105,000, $106,000 a year. And on average, they were going to make about $57,000 a year. One area of study that kind of surprised me that people didn't regret was psychology. Now, in the grand scheme of things, psychology degrees are kind of worthless if you don't at the very least get your master's, ideally get your doctorate. But surprisingly, people are happy with their psychology degrees. I'm guessing a lot of people who got psychology degrees kind of use that psychology to get into business or marketing and kind of went with like a business psychology angle. Without further ado, let's get into this article. A whopping 87% of journalism majors regretted their decision and would pick a different major if they could, according to CNBC, citing a ZipRecruiter survey of more than 1,500 graduates who are looking for a good job. Okay, sorry, I went to the wrong page there. Now, one thing that's kind of interesting about this, I'm guessing part of it has to do with wages, right? Journalists don't make a lot of money generally unless you become like a big name reporter or work for a big publication. But I wonder if part of it has to do with, over 80% of people don't trust the media. I don't think many people look upon the media very favorably. Most people know the media are basically PR people for corporations. And I wonder if a lot of people get into journalism thinking like, oh, I want to be like an investigative reporter. I want to write important stories. I want to ask hard-hitting questions. And then they realize that they're just kind of doing bullshit work, or if you do come upon a good story, you're told to shut it down because it might make a certain politician or a certain company look bad. I'm wondering if people are actually jaded to the profession, that going into journalism is not what they thought journalism was going to be like, where it's not like a journalist on their favorite TV show or movie. If we look at the most regretted college majors, journalism is number one. 87% of journalism majors regret their degree, followed by sociology, 72%. Just liberal arts or general studies, 72% regret getting their degree. Communications, I'm a communications degree, big worthless degree there. 64%. Education, 61%. I'm kind of surprised by that. I got a couple cousins who teach. They both make over, I live in an area where teachers are actually paid very well, but I got two cousins who teach. They make over six figures. They have a $25,000 benefits package they don't pay a penny for. They don't pay into their retirements. They have summers off. They got a lake house. Come summertime, they scoot up to the lake house, and they're not back until September. They seem like they got a pretty good life, although education has become so like PC and so woke. That I can imagine that a lot of people who got into education thinking that they were going to challenge students and shape people's minds and come up with their own lessons plans are dealing with a bunch of bullshit about like transgenderism and a bunch of other nonsense that has nothing to do with education. So I can see why they maybe regret their degree areas. Marketing and management, kind of surprised by that one, 60% regret it. Medical and clinical assisting, 58%. Political science and government, 56%. I knew a lot of people who went into political science and government. They all either wanted to be politicians or lawyers. Nobody I know who went into that degree field actually wound up pursuing it. And essentially what that degree prepares you for is to be a history teacher. Outside of that, it's pretty worthless. Biology, 52%, and English language and literature, 52%. Let's see here. Back into the article. When we graduate, this reality hits, said ZipRecruiter head economist Simon Buber, adding, when you are barely managing to pay your bills, your paycheck might become more important. On average, 44% of all job seekers with college degrees regret their field of study. It's pretty crazy. Almost half of people with college degrees regret what they went to college for. The poll comes months after a Reuters survey that found that trust in the mainstream media is evaporating. It comes down to money, according to the College Payoff, a report from the Georgetown University Center on Education and the Workforce. Bachelor's degree holders typically earn 84% more than those with just a high school diploma. However, of course, career paths matter. When broken down by area of study, however, the difference is striking. Students who pursue a major specifically in science, technology, engineering, and math, collectively known as STEM disciplines, are projected to earn the most overall. In addition to STEM, health and business majors are among the highest paying, leading to average annual wages that are higher at the entry level and significantly greater over the course of the career compared with liberal arts and humanities majors, the Georgetown Center found, according to CNBC. So what are the least regretted majors? The least regretted majors are computer and information sciences. 72% of those people would choose the same degree area again. Criminology, 72%. 72% of people who went for criminology would choose that career field again. Engineering, 71%. Nursing, 69%. Health, 67%. Business administration and management, 66%. Finance, 66%. Psychology, 65%. That's one that surprised me. Construction trades, 65%. And human resources management, 58%. According to Buber, pay is still most important, but now job security is becoming more important That happens whenever we have a fear of a recession. So that's the end of the article. Would love to hear your guys' thoughts about this. So go ahead and drop a comment down below. If you guys want to share what your degree is, if you're happy or unhappy with what degree you went into, and anything else you have to add about this, would love to hear from you. So go ahead and drop a comment down below. If you're not subscribed to the channel, click that subscribe button down below. If you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.